Welcome to the ASI Business Roundtable Podcast, where faith meets the marketplace and purpose meets leadership. This is a space where we engage real conversation about what it means to be a Christian, and especially the Seventh-day Adventist, what it means to be a Christian in business, in leadership, and in public life. Because the marketplace is not just a place of profit, it is a place of mission. Today we are honored to be joined by Pastor Dennis Munaiwa as we explore one of the most important questions facing believers today, which is it truly possible to run a business whilst remaining faithful to God's principles? We'll talk about integrity, ethical leadership, wealth, influence, and what it means to represent Christ in boardrooms, workspaces, and even positions of national responsibility. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a professional, a student, or a leader seeking God's will, stay with us. This conversation is for you. Let's get right into it. Pastor Munaiwa, do you believe that God calls people to business the same way He calls ministers to His business of the kingdom?
Thank you very much. What a question. God is a business God. I don't want to reduce God to a businessman, because God is not man. He's God, and He's a business God. And all the ideas of business started with God. Go back to creation, the creation story. Genesis 1:27, as He was now designing a business partner, He created Adam in His own image. What would that mean? It means Adam resembled God. He resembled God in stature and in everything. And He called Adam to a task, to a certain business, to manage that which He had created. And yes, pastoral calling is God's business. To do what? To save humanity. To save humanity and point them to eternity. Business people are also called by God to do what? Not only to put money in their pocket, to save humanity through addressing the needs not only of people but of nations, and changing people's lives. A person who changes a person's livelihood, you are into a serious ministry. That's a calling. No wonder why, if you look at Matthew 25, Jesus is saying, you have business, guys, and that is the business of saving humanity. People are hungry, people are naked, people are sick, people are imprisoned, people are in different circumstances that need not only prayer, but someone into business who dedicate part of the proceeds of the business to save humanity. Just like what the pastor is doing, saving humanity. The business community, the business people must work to save humanity. We'll explore it further, but it is a calling.
Wow.
It is a calling. And like you have asked, do pastors sometimes forget that they've been called? Yes, they forget and get swayed away. And do business people also forget that they've been called? Yes, they forget and they get swayed away. But there must be a reminder. Guys, you are into business. Someone better was supposed to be doing exactly what you are doing. But the opportunity was given to you through God's calling to save humanity.
Wow, speaking of saving humanity, I have a question. So what does it look like for a business that has Christ at the center, Christ as the head of the business, saving humanity, Christ in the boardroom, Christ in the business operations? What's a typical organization or company that has Christ as the center of the business?
You see, when people come to work, as an example, many people spend more time at work. So workplace or business place becomes their second home. And the environment that is created there must make someone wanting to come to work again tomorrow without cohesion. The environment that has been created by the business owner, by the management, by the leadership of that organization must be such that people go home happy. That's number one. Number two, a business that exhibits Christ as the leader or chairperson, board chair, or finance director reflects Deuteronomy 8 verse 18. For it is I, the Lord, who gives you the power to do what? To make or produce wealth. And once a business person acknowledges that what I am having and what I shall have is not coming out of my own thinking and my own cleverness, but it is God who is providing and creating that conducive environment for me to make this business. Obviously, such a business will exhibit the following things. Number one, people will have to give God this time. They start their day with a prayer. They end their day with a prayer. They consult God when things are not going too well. They have time to consult God and say, business is going down. Help us, Lord. Probably it could be an environment that is highly inflationary and so on. They don't try to run around before they consult the one who makes them make riches. That's a typical of a business that Christ is at the center. And obviously, do you think I will forget to mention this one? I will not forget. God has his percentages. He's a shareholder. And he has clearly specified what he expects as a partner. He must be the major shareholder. But have you seen that he only claims maybe 10, 20? In Israel, he would claim up to 33%. The rest is for you. And a business that does not even acknowledge God by returning a tithe of what they have realized as profits, then God is not part of. You retain your tithe as an individual business person. You are getting your salary from a business. But the business is also an individual entity, which has to acknowledge God that surviving through these turbulences, there's someone who is sustaining. So the business also acknowledges it returns to God. Maybe not monthly, but when you do your financials, half-yearly, biannually, and so on, you know what to do. That's a business that reflects that Christ is at the center. He's in the boardroom. Not only in the boardroom, he's in the finances. And not only in the finances, he's in the operations. Yeah, he's seen everywhere. And the people are happy to be associated with that business. And even the workers are proud to be in such a business.
Well, let's get to the business owner. Look, what you have said is very insightful. But I want to understand that the business owner is also a human being who suffers from as much temptations, perhaps more, because of resources than an ordinary person. How does then a business owner maintain his integrity and his attachment to God or her attachment to God whilst running a business?
You know what? Money has this kind of power to invite even the uninvited. They come on their own. And today you are operating, just like anyone ordinary. People will not look for you, but just rise a little bit higher than others. Let it be known out there that, Dick Zozo is now a big guy. Ladies from all over, that's number one. Mostly ladies, they'll come after you. They'll come after you. And here's what I want to say in view of your question. Do you know that it is a shame not to respect the woman whom you were always on your knees with, praying for the same business? It hates God when that same woman who was spending sleepless nights in prayer, praying for business opportunities, praying for breakthroughs with you in your 2 rooms or whatever, in your 4-roomed house. And the Lord has now finally answered your prayers. Things have now begun to happen. Resources are coming like floods, into your life. And all of a sudden, you begin to match the same money with another woman who never offered a prayer for this, and neglecting that one. She's now an outcast.
Wow.
She doesn't understand. I'm too busy. I know you're too busy. So what would be the appropriate prayer for this woman, for this man, in order for you to make it eternity? Kindly ask God to withdraw, so that at least this man will be saved. So temptations come, but temptations are not evil. They are temptations. They want to test you, and you must be tested.
Pastor, on that,
Yeah.
is it possible to truly be competitive in today's economy without sacrificing biblical integrity? Is it possible?
Yeah. I want to highlight this to you. Integrity is integrity. Whether it is raining, whether it is snowy, and whether it is whatever scenario you may find yourself in, integrity is integrity. You must listen to this young man, Joseph. He was serving in Potiphar's house. There was an opportunity that he could commit adultery with his master's wife, a relationship that he did not initiate. It was Potiphar's wife who pursued him, just like many other men today. So many women are pursuing. They're trying to find opportunities to be so close to this man. But Joseph made this declaration: how can I do this evil thing and sin against my God? Because God is watching. It is the grace of God that has brought you as a businessman or woman to the stage that we are today. And He may want to take you further, for as long as you remain, faithful to Him, not only to Him, to your wife or to your husband, for as long as you remain faithful and humble before Him and give Him the chairmanship, the leadership of your life and your business, then yours now will be a true calling, as you've asked before. This is now a true calling, that when resources abound, you don't think of increasing women. You think of increasing quality to the needy. Some are walking 10 kilometers to a school because yours is a calling, but through a business line that God has blessed you. Reduce that distance of 10 kilometers to at least 5 kilometers. Build a school. The orphans and the widows and the needy, when they cry tears of joy before your God, God then will say, this man is very useful. He's an asset. Why can't we improve whatever he's doing and increase? So, to answer your question, it is possible, in as much as someone can say no to poison. It is also possible to say no to unethical behavior because you are now a business person. You don't want to betray trust. Atikzos, it's a shame that we our side here, part of Africa, we have very few people who have made it in terms of resources and money and so on. But go overseas, you will see people who have made it long ago. They still stick to their old lady. I've seen it.
It's a pandemic.
I've visited. I've been, in talks with some of them when I go for some programs. They are probably 50 years in marriage. They have done great things. They are busy, building schools, clinics for the needy. They have money. And some of them will tell you, I have made enough, not only for myself, but even for the people whom I don't know. Why do you panic when you make $1 million? You panic. And it is announced left, right, and center. Tigzozo is now made $1 million, is now a millionaire. And once people hear that, they'll come after you, both male and female. At least a male probably would rely on him one day to say, my friend, things are not well. They may, but women may not.
So you have taken us to a comparison between Western wealth to African wealth. There are 3 words that I hear a lot. There's exploitation, there's greed and injustice that happen in our kind of business operations. Vakuru vanoti, if you tell them you're working for a white person, and right, if you're working for a black person, they're like, kushandira musiyamwa, kwakanaka here kubasa. What's your comment on those 3 words? Exploitation, greed, and injustice at the workplace.
Thank you very much. If you read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 15, the Lord explicitly says, do not withhold the wages of a worker, lest they cry unto me, and I hear them, and I will count it on you as sin. How does God deal with sin? How does God deal with people who abuse other people? You remember in the book of Isaiah, God said, true fasting is doing justice to the fatherless, the widow, and the needy. What is God saying here, even in the context of business people? In our environment, many business people think a worker does not have need for money. Come month end, I'll give you later. Yet that same worker is an old mama or old mbuya at home who is depending on them for their medication, the high blood pressure, monthly supplies. They are counting on him to say, si kana mkoma, mzukuru achatumira. And this worker here is not even, counted in the programs of the business person in terms of financial matters. No, I'll give you later. What exactly do you want? I'll give you bus fare. These guys are not working for bus fare. They are working for a living. Yeah. And it is very unfortunate that some businesses could not survive the mile because of the tears of our workers. That's number 1. Number 2, some business people are not so ethical. When they borrow, they disappear. They change address, they change phone numbers, they change everything. You cannot trace them. Very unethical. You see? Number 3, some businesses, instead of paying their workers, they are busy sponsoring extramarital affairs. Someone is worked for you to get this money. Give them their dues. Now we are failing to give them their dues, but out there, you are very up to date, even paying fees in advance. I hope it's making sense what I'm saying.
It is.
Because this is real life on the ground. We experience this. We've done a lot of counseling with people who are crying, please pray for me. It's now 3 months. I have not been given my salary. But the same brother or sister whom they are working for, they say to be gone to Dubai for holiday. How do you afford to go for a holiday when someone is crying for the amount that is 1/4 of your air ticket? So in business, we must have a conscience. Let's have a conscience. Let's resemble God. This is where the image of God comes in. You must, if it was God into this business, was he going to treat these people this way? If it was Jesus who is running this company, do you think come Friday or come Monday, Jesus would say to these guys, I'm God with you, I'm Emmanuel, but unfortunately, the monies are not balancing. I'll see you next week. Then Jesus flies to heaven for holiday. Hires a jumbo jet. No, he would not treat people like this. So it is very unethical and very unchristian not to honor what we have agreed to. Probably ahead of time, looking at your books and how your business is performing, you can inform your workers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are going through. And because of this, we may be reducing in A, B, C, D. Yes, it's understandable. At least you have communicated. But be honest. Be honest. God is honest. When he says, I'll come again to take you home, he's coming. He's honest. He sticks to his word.
Well, let's zero more on the individual. There's a thin line between being a person of influence and being an idol. Because as a business owner, you tend to be praised and overpraised for the work that you're doing. How does one disseminate? Where is the line between stewardship and spiritual danger?
Spiritual danger and stewardship. Like we have said, I think if we are very conscious as business people to say, I'm not here alone. My God is with me. That's your serious advantage. My God is with me. And as a business person, I can't do this. I can't displease my God who has blessed me with these ones. I can't. You have placed yourself at a serious vantage position that God, at all costs, will stand with you and for you. Right? And sometimes, in business, I'm sure this is where real Christianity should be practiced. Because we cannot tell about real Christianity in church on Sunday or Sabbath. No. But outside Sunday or Sabbath, that's where Christianity is defined, at your workplace. So as you reflect Christ, he will also reflect himself into your transactions. And you are safe. You are safe.
So, Pastor, an interesting question for you. If business opportunity comes through political systems that are morally unclear, how does a Christian discern whether it's God's provision or it's a temptation?
You're talking of political systems. The whole world, from time immemorial, has been run on political systems. Okay? On political systems, through and through. And I know if you make reference to the book of Daniel, we have the Nebuchadnezzars, the Belshazzars, the Dariuses, and so on. You go back to the book of Genesis and Exodus, you look at the pharaohs, and so on. Those are political systems. But I have this, it's a rhetoric question in answering your question. Let's go to Egypt. It was a political power that gave the Israelites Goshen. People who do not go to church, through Joseph, they got Goshen. Land is not distributed from church. I wanted to even mining licenses, they are given by those that are in political offices. It is a shame sometimes when we label God's natural resources and attach some political whatever there. It's wrong. I know the book of Romans says, 8 verse 28, all things work together. What is the definition? Can someone define for me the word all? Do politicians fall in the bracket all? Do political offices fall in the bracket all? If yes, then I know what I want. If a politician tells me, Pastor, there's a piece of land that is on offer, I say, thank you. We are sent of God. Because land does not belong to politicians, but the distribution belongs to politicians. Land belongs to God, but God uses those that are in power. Whether moral or immoral, I don't care. God is saying, land, I created the land. But the one who is allocating land is Pharaoh, under the influence of Joseph, of course. And where did Israel settle? In Goshen. I'm just giving you as an example. And you know what? The only theocracy governance that we are going to get is when the trumpet sounds. For as long as the trumpet hasn't sounded, we are going to have different faces of politicians leading in different countries. Across Africa, across Europe, across America, across Asia. It's people who have been chosen by people. How they got there, I don't care. Now they are there. Romans tells me all things work together. What do I need as an individual? What do you need as a business person in that scenario? Do you go to church leaders and say, I want a piece of land? No. Do you go to church leaders and say, I want to build an industry there? No, it has to be approved by council. Probably out there people who take drugs every morning. Do you shun it to say, I cannot have my papers signed by this man because I know he's into drugs? Don't worry about their drugs. What about their office?
Yeah.
If their office allows you to get what you want, you are not worshipping them. You are getting what is rightfully yours. But God has allowed these systems to be in place because Israel refused to have God as their leader. They preferred Saul. That's where we are. We preferred Saul. So somehow Saul has to sign our papers for us to get the mining licenses and claims and so on. That's my thinking and my conviction.
I think it would be also good to have Christians who are leading in political spheres. What's your take on Christians actively seeking political and government roles?
You know, I wish this could go into our Christian friends, that what an advantage it will be for us to have someone in those influential offices who also tells his counterparts, fear God. Let's not do this to people. It's not fair. Why are we not distributing things this way? Because if we have someone who resembles God in those high offices, imagine how. In fact, let me just go back a little bit. Do you know that at some point I've had some people asking about these church stands around locations. Who do we know in council? Or you want someone who you know? Who do we know in government, local government? Minister so-and-so is a friend to my brother. Please go and approach him and say, we are a small church. We want a place to worship and so on. Now you value them because they're in the office. But sometimes the process by which they get there is highly questionable in some people's views. I say, where possible, if those high offices are occupied by God-fearing people, so-called Christians, it's an advantage to the kingdom of God. It is an advantage to the spread of the gospel. Because suppose Tigzozo is one guy up there, and because I interact with you, I relate with you, I'll just say, Tigzozo, kindly call people from all the locations to go to the National Sports Stadium. Want to worship God. And you make an announcement. On the 17th, all roads lead to the National Sports Stadium for prayer. and you invite me to preach. I tell them about second coming. I tell them about state of the dead. I tell them, because imagine if things were like that. So I don't see anything bad when someone is kind of striving to be in those offices, because somehow I know they'll represent God better than it could be happening now. The Josephs, the Joseph in Egypt. It was a good time for the Israelites, because they had their own right up there. They had their own, and it was good until a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph came. The Daniels, the one whom I love most is the guys of influence in those high offices was even Esther. He saved the whole nation of Israel. She saved them big time because of her office. She occupied an influential office and saved the lives of people. So if someone says, Pastor, pray for me, I wish I could there. I will pray for you. God willing, you will get there. And I know for certain you will save people and save humanity.
You mentioned about Joseph, and him being faithful to God came with a price.
Yeah.
So what's your departing words to the business community? If being faithful to God costs your influence, your money, your resources, or your position, how should a Christian leader respond?
You know what, Texas? In this life, you must also learn to make some declarations. Make some declarations. If it is this way, me no, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Make declarations in life, you will make it. And all those that made some declarations in the Bible, God stood with them. Joseph clearly declared to Potiphar's wife, I can't do this, I'm sorry, I can't. What? He ran away for dear life. He was imprisoned for the wrong reason. But God was with him, and it was a way to promote him. Remember, in Matthew 26, Jesus made a declaration. Father, I know this is safe for me now, but thy will be done. And God's will was done. Sunday morning came. He was a victor, not a victim. And when we make declarations to say, come what may, this, I cannot take this contract because of A, B, C, D, you cite your own reasons. Because of this, I can't. If things are like this, yes, I can. Learn to say no to certain things and yes to certain things. It's not everything that you can say yes to. You can't. You can't make it. God will not stand with you. And you know what? God bragged with Job. He bragged. Say, no man is like that man. The devil tried every trick. But remember, from Job chapter 1 to Job chapter 41, it was like he's suffering. But the chapter 42 will always come.
Wow.
It will always come. A resurrection morning will always come. If we learn to make declarations and to say no to unethical behavior, our Job chapter 42 will come. Restoration. A restoration time will come. And when the restoration comes, do you know what happens? You forget about all your suffering. You forget about all your suffering. So I wish and pray that business persons, men or women, must learn to say, if it is like this, I'm not part of that. I don't want. Refuse. And where was Joseph? What was his end? Jesus. And he declared all power. After he said, thy will be done on this one, Father. Resurrection comes. What did he declare to his disciples? Because God said, because you have just obeyed me even to the most painful part of your life and journey, all power I'm giving to you in heaven and on earth.
Yeah.
So those declarations will only come to people who make decisions that are so bold even in the face of death. You may even lose your title. You may even lose your business, but you do not lose God. It's better to lose business than to lose God, because you lose this business today with God. You are with God. Tomorrow, He opens 5 new for you because you couldn't compromise principle.
Pastor Munaiwa, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing such deep, thoughtful insights on faith, leadership, and Christian calling in the marketplace. And to everyone listening, we hope this discussion has reminded you that business is not separate from discipleship. It is one of the places where our faith is tested, refined, and lived out. The question is not only how to succeed, but how to lead with integrity, honor, as we serve others and represent Christ wherever God has placed us. Thank you for tuning in to the ASI Business Roundtable Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, share this episode with someone in business or leadership, and continue the conversation, because the marketplace is one of the greatest mission fields of our time. Until next time, may God bless your work, your witness, and your calling. Thank you.